Discuss it further with Rahim Kassam, a fellow at the Middle East Forum. Rahim, first, what do you make of these reports and the comments by Republicans trying to tarnish the reputation of Jamal Khashoggi as a journalist and emphasize his ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, and even this picture circulating the web now with Osama bin Laden? Does it really matter what views he held?
Well, thank you for having me. I think it absolutely matters. I think context does apply in these situations, and I don't think it helps at all to be calling this stuff sort of conspiracy theory and the casting of aspersions. This is about trying to understand why what took place. I think we can all agree that the murder of anyone, whether they're a journalist or not, is something to be outrightly condemned and for a full investigation to take place, and that's what we're seeing now. But more often than not, when you see situations like this that have major geopolitical ramifications, we often see the media, and whichever party is in opposition at the time, be it the Republicans or the Democrats, using it for political gain. And I think that's what we're seeing here.
Well, there's no doubt, Rahim, there's absolutely no doubt. There's no doubt that politics is being used by both sides. But it is a fact, isn't it, that, first of all, I mean, Khashoggi was a journalist. He was a journalist for a newspaper, for a news organization in Bahrain, in which he was fired for airing a critical guest of Bahrain. He was fired from the most liberal newspaper in Saudi Arabia for criticism of the Saudi kingdom. So he was a journalist and he was a critic of the kingdom.
Well, you could say journalist or commentator perhaps would be more, you know, to the point on that. And you can also say it's not a conspiracy to say that he did find himself very close to Osama bin Laden. He expressed deep. There
was an ABC. Rahim,
sorry, let me finish my sentence there. He was said to be crying upon the death of Osama bin Laden. He has been close to the Muslim Brotherhood. So what we're trying to do is develop a 360-degree picture of what took place, why it took place. To be fair,
he supported the Muslim Brotherhood in his youth, which was more than 40 years ago. And by the way, there were some American reporters that got to Osama bin Laden in the 1980s who got interviews as well. And there's no proof that Khashoggi was crying when he died. There's no proof that Khashoggi cried. That is a conspiracy theory that has no evidence whatsoever.
It's not a conspiracy theory.
Do you have the evidence?
There was a quote.
Do you have the proof that he was?
Yes, I do. I have the evidence right in front. I have the evidence. I have the evidence right in front of me about what he said when Osama bin Laden was killed. He called him a beautiful person, right? Let's be very clear about this.
And who did he tell that to? What news organization? You can't just put this out there, Rahim. That's not fair. You can't do that. What news organization did he say this to?
You've had me on here to give my opinions and my perspectives on this. I'm quite happy for you to come back at them, but these are things that people need to hear.
We didn't have you on to make up things, and you can't come on and...
I'm not making a damn thing up. I've never made a damn thing up on this television channel before, and I'm not about to start now.
Well, what news organization, if you're going to put it out there that he was crying, that he called Osama bin Laden beautiful, what news organization did he say that to?
He wrote it himself. He wrote it himself. There is a quote there that is directly, that you can find directly quoted from him. But this is not the point. The point is whether the strategic imperative of acting against a reforming Saudi Arabia, I don't say reformed, a reforming Saudi Arabia matches the moral imperative of actually taking up sanctions against that regime. Now, one would argue, I would argue from a realistic and rationalistic perspective that yes, the international community does have a moral imperative to do something, but to put the entire relationship at risk on the basis of this thing, on the back of what Turkish intelligence reports.
But nobody is saying to put the entire relationship at risk. Rahim, nobody is saying put the entire relationship at risk. Even Lindsey Graham and others, they've talked about sanctions. They have not talked about...
And you are emboldening Iran. You are doing the same thing as the launderers of the Obama administration's Iran deal.
Well, I'm sorry that's your view. Rahim Kassam, a fellow at the Middle East Forum with some very unusual opinions. Rahim, thanks for coming on. Still to come.